Well, everybody, welcome to Mind and Spirit. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you get more people. But, on the other hand, I'd like to welcome Raven, Laurie, Darlene, and Geoff. Have a good day, Geoff. Good day, mate. Good day, bloke. No, it's a wonderful thing. If only you know how to use it. Thank you very much for your assistance. Anyway, darling, I reckon that was really, really, really good of you. Now, Geoff, we were going to talk about affirmations.
Yeah.
Only,
the use of affirmations in your daily life and what they can do for you.
I think I first came across affirmations some years ago, and I was reading up about a guy in Brittany in France, and he started off this... the belief, he had so many people in his little township that were sick, he started to tell them to say to yourself at least so many times a day, how many times I can't remember, but every day in every way I get better and better. And anyway, he did. They all went away and done their thing, and lo and behold, within a year I think he'd lost most of his patients because they was all so well, because whatever you tell your body to do, it will do. Whatever you tell your mind to do, it will do. And this has been proven more and more and more these days. But as I say, type it into your browser. Emile Coué, his name is Coue. He's from Brittany in France, and he was really the first person that I learned to do affirmations with. I didn't speak to him directly because he died before this century started, but no, I think he died about 1907. But on the other hand, there's so many other affirmations now being used, but people don't take them seriously, and they do not continue to do them. It's like even down to meditation, people won't do the sit back and do the thing, really, really pump it and do the persist with it. I mean, 21 days and they reckon that you can change your whole life.
But what I do, Brian, is that I've always, if anybody says to me, how are you, Geoff? I always say, I am wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Saying that every time somebody speaks to you, it's amazing how good you feel.
Yeah, you do.
What you're doing is you're convincing your brain, and your brain is convincing your body that you are feeling wonderful.
Yeah. Well, every cell in your body, every atom in your body reacts to whatever you think and say. I mean, there was a case in the American military some years ago. They done it. They took a small piece, just really a small clipping off of a guy's flesh, and they put it in the next room, and then they shocked the actual soldier himself, and they registered it on a meter on this piece of flesh that was in the next room. And of course they couldn't understand it. Anyway, they took this piece of flesh 360 miles away, shocked him again, and the exact identical time his flesh then reacted to it. They picked up the same. And you think, well, if it can do that, even a thought then must be able to transfer to other people right around the world. So, this is it. If we all get together, we could get rid of all these stinking politicians that we've got. You lost sound again, Geoff. You're all up with it, mate. I'll tell you what, I'll hand it over to you and see if it makes any difference. Hey, how's that? Any better? No sound coming through, mate. Mind you, you're on mute at the moment, so I've unmuted you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I see the control of the room's jumped back to me as well.
Yeah, I'll put it back. I'll put it back now. I've done it. So that's the main thing. I can't rub it on by myself. But
So I missed most of what you said there, Brian, unfortunately.
Oh, did you? Okay. Never mind. Laurie, your grandson, I think he looks absolutely wonderful, doesn't he? Really, really, really beautiful boy. Oh, he's gorgeous. Absolutely. I'm just trying to remember his name. Dougie. Is that right? Yes. No, he's a beautiful looking boy, and he looks very intelligent, to be honest, and picking up from him the way he thinks is different to most children. Douglas. I thought you called him Dougie.
They do call him Dougie, but his name is Douglas.
Yeah. No, beautiful
It's
stuff.
like my name is Jeffrey, but they call me Jeff.
I won't tell you what they call me. No comment. Hold back on that one, Jeff.
Yes, I think you should, Brian.
Yes. Good stuff. No, as I say, affirmations to me, they've done me really, really well. My grandmother started me off with it when I was 8. I lived with her for 2.5, 3 years. And she was the most spiritual person I've ever known. She wouldn't boast about it. She wouldn't even really talk about it unless you asked her first. But she kept on and on at me, keep telling yourself, I can do anything. I can do anything. And so every time you think of it, say it. And I tell you what, she wasn't wrong, because the amount of things I've got I think I counted 9 different trades that I can do. And it carried me right way through my life. I'm not a millionaire or anything like that, but at least I've been living. So affirmations are the thing which stand out, one of the best.
I think the thing is, this is where, the reason for people's interest, the reason we picked mind and spirit for the room is that Brian very much works with mind control, and I work very much on the spiritual side of things. But the more we talked, we realized that it's one and the same thing.
One and the same thing, yeah.
It's all about controlling your own self. Once you control yourself, as Brian says, there is no limit to what you can do. And an affirmation is one way to do that, to get your mindset right, to get you to be able to do the things that you need to do.
When I was first taught meditation, it was back in the very early 80s, and it was by a Buddhist monk in Adelaide, and he said that he didn't like the idea of using the Om thing, because, as he said, people think as soon as you say, what goes through your mind is all sort of silly stuff. And he said that you can use any word you want as long as it means nothing. And I picked out a particular word, and it does mean nothing, that I do know for sure, and just kept on repeating that and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And eventually you find that you can clear your whole mind of everything that goes on around you, and it's totally beautiful. I can get down to a point even now, this is some 40 years afterwards, you cannot feel your body. And once you can not feel your body, then you know full well you're in total control of your mind. And once you're in control of your mind, you can do anything that you really want to, and that impresses me so much. I know Jeff feels the same.
Sure do. I'm still learning very much about the things that you can do, and every day I find new things that just fascinate me.
Yeah. It goes beyond belief, though, but people, to be quite honest, I've tried to teach many, many people to do transcendental, and they normally last for about 2 days, and after that they can't be bothered. And you think, well, how much do you want to learn it? As simple as that. To get really down to it, you've really got to make yourself do these things. I know one particular lady, I've been through the whole scenario with her for at least twice. And I'll do it this time, and a week later I go back and say, well, how's the meditation gone? Oh no, it's just a bit too difficult. Other things kept on coming in, you know. But that's the whole idea, you know, to keep on trying and trying.
It's the same. It's the same with the healing that I do, Brian. You know, I teach people, and I say to them, you know, well, how much have you practiced? Oh, well, I haven't really, you know. You're never going to get anywhere if you don't practice.
That's it. You've got to, you know, really want what you're doing, and I think this is where a lot of people do foul up, which is silly.
So, Raven, have you got an example of where you used an affirmation? Have you? Speak to me. Can't have quiet air. We're not allowed to.
No, we're not allowed to, otherwise we get booted out. So.
Actually, you do. Good. Tell us all about it.
You can come on mic, you know. You can. No problem there at all.
Come on the mic if you want, Raven. Just click unmute it up the top. I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. There you go, you see. That's a good affirmation.
That's it. But it's your own belief on everything, isn't it? This is where people don't understand. You know, they've got this idea is what, you know, what they think is a load of rubbish, and I know people don't want to hear that, but the more we can spread this around, the better it's going to become for everybody. It just goes beyond belief.
Well, it's like anything. You've got to start somewhere, and if it's your size that bothers you, then that's what you work on.
Mm-hmm.
It's what stories say. The biggest problem is me and what I think of myself. I'm usually too hard, and I know it.
I mean, when I first started my apprenticeship when I was a kid, I was only 15. It takes 4 years to learn how to repair and make sewing machines, and 4 years is nothing. You think to yourself, well, I can do it, you know, and you pick up a bit every day, get better and better and better and better, and eventually you come out at the end of it and you are a fully skilled tradesperson. But the learning side of it is exactly the same as you teaching yourself how to do things. I think this is where a lot of people slip up. They tend to give up and put other things in their way. And if you make a definite time for doing something, I mean, I don't suggest doing meditation of a night time because everyone's tired and everyone falls asleep. But what's wrong with getting up early in the morning and doing it? I mean, even if you do it for half an hour of a morning, it's quite enough to get better at it. I mean, you could do that weekends and do it twice a day. You know, there's people put up all these different blockages, all these different walls they build about why they can't. There's no such word as can't. You can do anything at all if you really, really want to. Now,
I think one of the things that you would know about Raven with me and with you, Doe, you know me. How many times have I said, "Oh, I'm not a reader"? How many times have I said that? And yet, the fact is, I am a reader, and I have to stop saying that. I had to force myself to not say it. So now I say, I am a reader, but it's not my priority. Healing is my priority. So I changed my way of thinking and the way I put it out there because it was affecting my abilities. I was convincing myself that I couldn't read, and I have to stop doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just silliness, really, when I started saying it.
You don't realise what you're telling yourself, and this is the whole point, isn't it? You know, as I say, every atom in your body reacts to exactly what you say and think. So you keep on thinking that I can't. That's when the line is drawn, I'm afraid. But, no, it's very, very strange the way that the human mind does work, and I think it is capable of so much more. You know, the things that we can do, you and I, Geoff. I think it's just beyond belief that people, keep on putting walls up and saying I can't do this and I can't do that. You know, there's nothing. Well, yes, there are a couple of things. I can't have children for starters, but there's 90% of the things that blokes are supposed to be able to do, I can do. We'll leave the female side out of it. Sorry, Geoff, you were saying?
No, look, Raven's going to have to leave us. She's not feeling too good.
All right, never mind, Raven. Bless you, love. Thank you very much for coming in, and look after yourself, precious. And don't take your nose at what Geoff said. You know, he's an idiot. So.
It was quite funny because I actually teach mediumship, Brian. I've been teaching a mediumship class.
Oh, yeah.
And even there, I say the wrong things because I had 2 new students come in, and they said, well, you know, give us a rough idea of how it works. And I said, well, let me just give you an example. So I said, I've got a lady here, and I started to describe this lady, blah, 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 you know. And I said the name I've been given is Maud, and this is, and I was just showing them how it works.
Yeah.
And I thought I was making it up, you know. And they said, oh, is that real? I said, no, I don't think so. And the lady that's sitting next to me, she said, yes, she is. She said, that's my sister. I would go, oh, okay. You know, and I wasn't even trying. I was just trying to give an example of the sort of the way it comes across when people are doing mediumship. But
it does that many times.
So it just comes in and you give it out. But, you know, I've got to stop saying no and say, yes, it is. That's a real reading because that's what it is.
Well, it's the same as the things I do, you know, when I'm mind reading, to be quite honest, the things that come into your mind. I was only saying to Pauline this morning that you would be surprised at the things that you pick up from people without even speaking to them, because it sort of runs through your head, and you know where you get your intuition comes on that, you know, your third eye thing. Well, I reckon instead of just being the senses that you have, I reckon there's 555. You do anything, you know, just pick on a subject. Once you learn how to receive it, and this is what it is. Someone said to me over the weekend, last weekend, you know, what you should do is get them to speak in a female voice, so as you know it's not your thoughts. I've been trying to do that, but of course, being pensioners, we're stuck at home and we hardly meet up with other people. But I will have to try that more as we go, you know, when we go down to a local shopping centre. That can be a hard thing at times because there's so many people rabbiting on at the same time, you know, in their own mind. All thoughts going through. Whereas you can pick up all different things about them, what they've had in the past, and, you know, how the hurts have come to them. That's what I'll pick up most always, people's hurts. But this is it, you don't know until you get some feedback. And this is the thing that you don't get unless you actually ask. The ones I have done, I mean, there's a bit of a party next door. And I went in there, well, people know what I've been doing. I had about 8 women sitting around me, and one of them said, well, show us what you can do, you know. And I just looked at one particular woman and I said, 20 years ago, I said, you had a horrific experience, didn't you? And with that, she just burst into tears, got up and left. And I thought, well, that's confirmation. But the thing is, it hurt her by me bringing it up. And that's really not what I want to do. No. This is it. Hello, Mama D's gone walkabout. Oh,
yeah, she's gone to bed, yeah. But it's the same to me. I mean, one of the things I've noticed, the empaths, I've spoken to a lot of empaths, and I'm empathic myself to a degree. They all say, oh, you know, we go into the supermarket and we're bombarded by energy and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, tell it to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that. Well, yes, you can. You know, you can control your mind and say, I'm not going to accept it while I'm in Walmart. I don't want to know. And you don't get it. You know, you walk happily through Walmart, and when you come home, you say, okay, open me up again. You know, to me, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, I done exactly the same thing. I used to go into our big supermarkets over here, the big malls, with all the hundreds of shops. And the amount of people talking, I used to hate going in there because it was, everyone was all around talking all the time. Which they weren't, they was only thinking. But anyway, Pauline said to me one day, well, rather than putting up with it, why don't you bubble yourself? So I did. Before we got out of the car, I brought this huge great bubble down, pink bubble, that is. I like pink. And we went in there, and it was so quiet, and it was beautiful. But I could concentrate on one person, and then I could hear what they were thinking. And that's when I realised that I can control me. Can't necessarily control anybody else, but you can control yourself. And I think this is where it all starts from. The whole thing is like a cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what I did when I started working with spirituality, I said to Spirit, this is what I'm prepared to do. I laid down the ground rules that I wanted to work with. And I had no problem with Spirit. They said, fine, that works for us. And I don't get inundated by anybody. If I say to Spirit, okay, I want to focus on this person, please help me, they'll open me up and they'll give me information. So it's there. It just needs that control from yourself to say, this is what I will accept and this is what I will not accept. And Spirit's only too happy to work with you over it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And Laurie, you'd be brilliant in a Reiki shop, Laurie.
Oh, she would. She would be brilliant. I mean, some of the reasons I've heard her give, Laurie, I think you're one above. It shouldn't be little dough, it should be big dough.
It's all part and parcel of the same thing. No matter what subject you bring up, really, it all comes down to you being happy with yourself and doing what you want to do. Focusing your mind on that particular thing.
I've been thinking that a lot because, as I say, I don't necessarily pick up the two people standing behind you. One's got a bowler hat on, and the other one is an old lady with silver hair. And I don't pick up any of that stuff. And I keep on telling myself, well, that's probably because I'm telling myself that I'm not picking anything up.
Yeah.
I've got to go in the opposite direction now and start listening. I want to do it in the correct order. Good day, Mello.
Yes, she is. Mello's coming. Hi, Mello. How you doing, love? Good to see you. The thing is that also is that even when I'm doing healing work, by being positive about what you can and cannot do, or what you can and want to do, gives that confidence to the client. And because they respond well to you, then obviously the healing works better.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street from everybody. You have to have this link with your client, whether it be a reading or a healing, that's open and honest between both of you.
And it's a belief structure, isn't it?
It's a belief structure.
I worked in a massive, great, very, very noisy factory. Karama Industries made all the toilet and bathroom fittings. And they had 63 1,000-ton machines. And they were screaming most of the time. But nearly all the people in the factory knew full well that I had done healing. And as I say, I done healing on one of the supervisors there, in the middle of the factory, in the middle of the day. So noisy, yet I cured him of his tennis elbow in about 2 minutes. Beautiful stuff. And everyone says, oh no, it's not possible. You can have quiet when you're doing healing. You've got to, there are no, if you make the rules, that's exactly what you're going to get. I don't believe in that because all the factories I've ever worked in, it's just so noisy that it's beyond belief. But you go to a place that's trying to make money out of it, and they say, oh no, you've got to have perfect peace and perfect silence. And no, you make the rules.
Again, that's the mindset, isn't it? It's the mindset.
Yes.
I worked on I had a lady come up. I was actually talking to the big boss of the factory I was working at, and she came up and she had a migraine. Her eyes were like little slits, and you could see the weight on her head. She was really crook. She said, can I go home? I said, how are you going to get home? She said, I'm going to drive. I said, there's no way you can drive like that. I said to the boss, can I take you into the room for 15 minutes? He sort of looked at me a bit askance and said, well, it's up to her, And she said, yeah, come on, Geoff. And we walked into the theatre room. I sat her down. I put my hands on her head. And in 15 minutes, she got up, went back to work, and worked the rest of the day. She was fine.
Yeah.
I had to have the confidence in myself to say, I can do this.
That's it.
She had to have the belief in me to say, Geoff can do this. Geoff can help me get over this problem. And it worked.
Yeah, I've done it many times, many, many times. I mean, I've had really high-rated readers come to me and want me to do healing in another country. And I've done it without any problem. And they've come back to me the next day and said, I feel perfectly fine, no problem, it's all gone. And that was a young lady that was in New Zealand, and she, when she arrived there, she was on 2 weeks holiday, and they all had a real bad strain of flu going around, and everybody had it. But she was in the house with people, I think there was 4 other people in the house, and they all had it, and coughing and sneezing, and all the rest of the crap. She got it, as she said, she felt it within an hour of being there. But by the time I'd done the healing, she got up the next morning and, as she said, completely gone. And,
I just want to make clear to people listening in that, we don't actually do the healing. What we're talking about here is sending the energy to them so they can heal themselves,
They can heal themselves, that's it. Because you can't heal.
Healing work.
I mean, somebody who doesn't believe, Geoff, doesn't stand a chance of getting healed. As simple as that. You've got to believe in healing. You've got to believe in the person sending it to you, and then consequently your own mind then takes over, and as I say, it controls every atom of your body. And once you believe it, then it's it just goes through you. It's easy.
And this is my point. And when I teach the Reiki session that I do, one thing I say to everybody that I teach is, I'm giving you all this information, and I give them manuals and all that sort of stuff. But really means nothing, because it's your intent that does most of the work. If you intend to help somebody, then you will. Yeah. Irrespective of what symbols you might know or might not know. And I've had this with Reiki people that are Reiki masters that have been so for many years. Oh, we need a symbol to work on this. We need a symbol to work on that. We should design it. Why? You are a channel for the energy. If your intent, your mindset is to help somebody, then you will help them.
Yeah, well, grandmother taught me when I was 8 years old. And she used to say, imagine a drain pipe coming from spirit above, coming down into the top of your head. And then once you decide on something, they send all that energy down that drain pipe or tube or whatever you want to call it. And then you can do the job. And I was 8, I took in everything, and I believed her like you wouldn't believe. She was a wonderful, wonderful person. But there again, as I say, until you can convince others of it, I say I don't, I'm the old-fashioned type. I'm she and her family were gypsies in Ireland, and they used to go around in one of these caravans and do all the healing and all that sort of stuff. So I've not had the opportunity to do the Reiki style with all the bits and pieces to go with it. Just do mine exactly as she taught me.
Well, to me, they're all variations of a theme. I mean, we all use the same energy. The energy comes from the universe, and that's what we all use. It's the method of using it is what the difference is. But to me, as I said, the intent is, if your intent is to draw that energy in and pass it through to another person, then you will.
This is it. It's
what training you've been doing and or what you've been taught.
Well, what I done was, rather than, people say with meditation, you've got to count down and you've got to do relaxation and all this. I call it crap. You do when you first start it, but what I do is I've got my mind used to the idea of when I put my 3 fingers together on my left hand, because being right-handed, I need to scribble down things at times. If I put my 3 fingers together, I immediately go down to my level. And it worked for me because that's exactly how I do it every time. And it takes me seconds to get there, and I can stay there as long as I really want to. So, no, it's, as you say, it's intent.
Yeah, and I say it works in all aspects. It's the same with me when people say to me, "Oh, well, when you talk to spirit, what process do you go through? Talk to spirit," and I say, "Process? What do you mean process?" I say to spirit, "I'm going to take you there," and I get a yes, and I say, "Well, what do I do now?" And they tell me. I don't do any process. I just talk to them as if they were somebody stood next to me.
Yeah.
It works.
No, it is. It's wonderful stuff. I couldn't live without it now, to be honest. I mean, I've been doing it 50 years plus, and I've found that your intent as well is the same as manifestation. It's the same as the affirmations and all of it. All come into the same sort of line. I knew full well in my younger days when very short of money, if I clean my tools up, then I'd get around, and it did. To go knock on the door, "Brian, can you come and fix my car?" or my, washing machine, or any of those sort of things. It worked out so really well. But thinking about it, it's just this is it. Your mind is that powerful. You can do anything that you want if you really want to. You've got to really want to. So.
But the affirmations are definitely a good way to train your mind to get to that point. And this is what we really wanted to talk about tonight, was using the affirmations as a means of focusing your mind on what it is you want to achieve. That's certainly the way to go.
Yeah, this is, as I say, but also don't forget that one of the biggest problems is the feedback, and that is where all of the problems that I've found come from. If you get feedback, you know full well the way you're heading is correct, and you start to relieve in yourself from there. When I found that child over in New Zealand, I mean, I've never been to New Zealand, but doing remote viewing, I can actually go there and check out the different places, the people, and once you believe in yourself, or when the particular person I was doing it for came back and said, "You were so right," she got onto the local police, told them what I'd seen. They got on a little village near where this beach was, and they went round and picked up the father and the child, which was to me a major, what can I say, a major accomplishment in my mind, because then I believed in what I could do. And that belief is something that you can never ever break away from, because once you've got that feedback, you can live with it quite easily. And it's exactly the same with affirmations. The more affirmations you do, you'll find that those things come into your being more and more all of the time.
You ever had a situation to use affirmations, Mallow? Interested to hear what you have to say.
You can come on microphone if you like. It's entirely up to your good self.
It's difficult when you're in the chat room like this, because we have to keep talking while we're waiting for an answer. Otherwise we have dead air, which is not a good thing to do on the radio.
No, not at all. There again, we've got to put up with these things. The more people can get in to do it, the better it is. The more people that join in, the better. And,
She must have walked away from the computer.
Yeah, I think so.
So what else do we use affirmations for? I mean, we talked not last week, the week before, about manifestation, and again, it's a very similar theme, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly the same, really.
Just a method of getting what you want, be it a physical thing or even just a spiritual thing. Your mind to it and work towards it.
It is controlling your mind, though, isn't it, Geoff?
It's all mind control, really.
That's what I've always headed towards, and the more books I've read on mind control, you find exactly the same thing, because the wonderful things that people have experienced and been able to do because of it, it's just a matter of shutting down the rubbish that's running through your mind all the time. You know, is this going to happen? Will that all, you know, this down the shopping centre, this, you know, and all that sort of stuff you don't need.
The sort of things you can do, Laurie, is to write things out that you want to do. Like, I must stop being negative, and stick a little sticker on your mirror in your bathroom, so that you read it every morning when you get up. You read it every time you go in there, and it just keeps your mind up to speed on that affirmation that, you know, I am not going to be negative. I'm going to be a positive person today.
If I can contradict you there, Geoff, the best thing to say is, I am positive. Yeah. I am always in control. You know, that sort of thing. Once you start putting the negative piece first, then that sort of downcries what you're in for. So it's more a matter of knowing in your own mind that you can and will and do.
Yeah, I can do anything. That's what you put up there. Read it to yourself every time you go in there, and it's just that little reminder to your brain that yes, you can do this.
I know someone who actually pins it now up on their laptop, on the, you know, like above the screen. You know, I can do anything, and it certainly works, because that person is coming on leaps and bounds. So, yeah, as I say, Emil Coué, okay, just read his bio, and you'll see exactly what I mean, because he started it all off years, well, I think it was 1882, something like that. He started it off, and within a year, he had a whole town of it convinced. All right, as he said, he lost a lot of trade because of it, but being the local alchemist as well, he gained in other ways. So, no, it's a beautiful way to think. I mean, I love it, absolutely.
And, you know, I mean, I do it in simple ways. Like, you know, I get up in the morning and say, today I am going to go and do the fence. I get up and I go and do it. I mean, I hurt like heck when I finished because I got back. But I got done what I wanted to do, and I didn't stop until I'd done it.
I done about 3 hours work yesterday morning. I took blinds down and cleaned them all and washed the wall down around the window and so on and so forth. And because the delicate position that you hang yourself in when you're doing these jobs, I got a real stiff back. And of course, Paul and I went shopping yesterday afternoon, and my back was really crippling me. And got up this morning, because when I went to bed last night, I thought, right, that's the end of that. Now I shall get better. Went up this morning, and it was completely gone. But, so as I say, half of it is sciatica anyway, because I pulled that sciatic nerve when I was lifting the back axle out of my car. Bang.
Yeah, it's easily done, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. But there again, it's quite easy to repair yourself as well. Yeah, it's not easy, Laurie, but it's not easy to keep up. As I say, I've been retired now for 15 years, and no, 10 years. Yeah, 10 years, and yes, I've slowed down a hell of a lot because I don't get the exercise I used to get. But I think at my age I'm allowed to do that.
I have to force myself, because I could sit in this chair and be on the computer all day, every day. It wouldn't worry me.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
I force myself to get up and go and do something. Otherwise, I'll get sorer and sorer, I think.
then you can't get up, Geoff.
Exactly.
It's when I first done my sciatic nerve. I was walking literally bent over. I just could not straighten up. I couldn't even get off the lounge chair. Pauline used to have to pull me out of the chair. But as I say, given a bit of time, and because it takes longer when you get older, and all's well now, I'm glad to say. Now and again I get twinges of it, but I just push it to one side. No, I'm not going to handle this.
Well, as you know, I gave up all my medications, so I don't take any painkillers at all now. I just do what I have to do.
Well, I say I've got rheumatism all in my left wrist, left elbow, right across my hips, arthritis, whatever you want to call it.
I've got that, yeah.
And supposedly I've got a crack in my hips as well, and I think to myself, well, it's always been there, so guess what? Just carrying around it. So. But this is it. It's, to me, it's the belief, your own belief structure.
Yep. And coping with pain is a similar thing. I can cope with this pain.
Yeah.
I don't need to take pills that the doctor gives me that then he charges me a fortune to bloody test every month or every 6 months. I can't afford that, so I don't take anything. And I've been off the pills now for 2 months, and I haven't had any problems whatsoever. And people have actually said to me, "What are you doing, Geoff? You look a lot better."
Belief.
Okay.
I remember years ago reading a story about it was an old folks' home, and there was someone there, and the people were walking around, walking sticks and walking frames and all this business, and just about, and the sister in this nursing home said, listen, she said, 90% of it is what they believe in themselves. And I thought, oh yeah, righto. She said, well, if I was to shout fire now, you see how many of them drop their canes and their walking frames and run to the door. Anyway, she tried it, and they did. Loads of them just, boom, they're out the door like a rocket. And you think, well, hang on, how much of it is in your own mind? You can really control yourself. All you've got to do is try. And there's so many people these days just give up on everything, and well, I'm such and such an age, and I can't do this and can't do that, To be quite honest, I have, let's put it this way, I don't go up on the roof anymore, because I'm getting a little bit unstable. I get halfway up there.
I avoid heights too, because I get a bit shaky up at heights nowadays.
Oh, I used to do roofing in England, and I put the roof on Crystal Palace football stadium, and believe me, I put every sheet up there myself, carried it across the roof, and I was walking steel that was only 4 inches wide in the wind with the sheets on your shoulder, great big, they were 10 foot long by 4 foot wide, and it made me really, really good at heights. And yet now, if I go up a ladder, I look down and think, oh Christ, that's a long way for me. I mean, when I was doing the Crystal Palace, it was 70 foot drop, no matter where you were on the place. It's easy to be able to fool yourself that you can't do things. Once you have to, then it's a different kettle of fish. I think you can do anything if you really, really want to.
Absolutely.
But, as Dave said, when you get older, just don't bounce like you used to. Well, don't get in a position where you can bounce. Pauline had a fall about a year ago. He was carrying a laptop through to tape some stuff on the TV, and she's one of the dog's toys was on the floor, and she put her foot on it and went face over apex. bashed her hand on the what's the name of the counter, the cabinet that was holding the television, and I know full well she broke the bones in her hand. But no, she said, no, stop that. I'm not doing anything. No, she said, I'm too bloody old to go around with plasters on, casts on. I'm not going to take any notice. And do you know what? That girl put it behind her. And even though the doctor said you've definitely got a piece missing, the others say you've got a loose piece floating around. Eh?
In your brain.
Well, that's not nice, love. She's got a loose piece in the brain. But no, honestly, she talked herself out of it. She will not accept the fact that there is a problem, and she's carried on through it. It's all mind control. It's all doing the right thing. It's all affirmations. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. There is no pain. That's the sort of thing that everyone wants to do all the time to make yourself even happier. That's the best way to go. Anyway, Geoff, it won't be long before we're closing down, my friend. It's coming up to an hour. I thank you all for very, very much for coming in. Laurie and Mello. Laurie, we'll have to get together and have a chat sometime, honey. I haven't spoken to you on Facebook so long that it's unreal. But, thank you very much for coming in. That's it. You can do anything, Laurie. Honestly. I know we've spoken many times, and I was so enamoured by the things that you can and have done. And, beautiful stuff. Okay, folks, I'd like to wish you all a good night and look after yourselves. Oh, no worries at all, Mello. So I wish you could come on mic and give us your opinion on a few things, but it wasn't to be. Okay, folks, so I'll catch up to you soon. God bless.
God bless everybody.